Thank you. I'm pleased to be here. Today we will be talking about something that's going to change the history of the world. The magic of archaeology is back, but this time this magic is coming from the European soil. I'm going to be talking about the Bosnian Valley of the Pyramids. That's the first thing. The second, the megalithic stone spheres that also have been found in Bosnia. And then finally about the megalithic prehistoric towns in Bosnia and the stone monuments called stečak in Bosnia. A few things about myself. I founded a non-profit foundation called the Archaeological Park, Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun Foundation. This foundation has started the biggest archaeological dig in recent decades in the world. The past 3 years, we have spent over 300,000 business hours in excavation and the lab analysis. You're going to see some of the results tonight. I'm the principal investigator on the project. The history of civilizations is what I write about. My PhD is about the Mayan civilization, where I investigated more than 50 Mayan ruins in Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Belize, and Mexico. I've authored 10 books about the ancient civilizations and, of course, visited most of the sites you've been talking about yesterday and today. The 21st century will be the era of the pyramid research. Until the 15th century, people thought the pyramids were only in Egypt. Actually, just 3 of them on Giza Plateau. Then in the 16th century, the Spaniards came to Central America, and we learned about the Mexican pyramids. 19th century, Peruvian pyramids. 20th century, Chinese pyramids. And now in 21st century, we know that the pyramids were built everywhere in the world, whether it be Belize, where we have 1,000 Mayans villages, towns, and cities. 1,000 of them. Every one of them had a pyramid. Unfortunately, only 4 sites in Belize are open for the public. Korea, 3 step stone pyramids in Andong. Peru. In southern Peru, there is an area called Cavachi. 6 years ago, when I went there, Italian archaeologists found 3 pyramids. Last January, they told me they discovered a total of 34 pyramids. In northern Peru, there is a place called Tucumán, which contains 250 pyramids. A little bit east from Tucumán is, of course, Trujillo, with the biggest pyramidal structures in South America, Huaca del Sol and Huaca de la Luna. So we have thousands of pyramids in Mexico, thousands of them in the other Central American countries, 300 in Peru, 130 in Egypt, 250 in Central Chinese province of Shanxi, and dozens of pyramids in Sudan, Canarian Islands, like 6-step pyramids there, former Mesopotamia, on the bottom of the ocean floor between Japan and Taiwan, close to the Cuba. And we have 7 of them in ancient Greece. We have 1 in Sicily. We probably have 3 more near the Turin in Italy. And the biggest one of them is in the central Bosnia. 3 years ago, I have discovered a complex in central Bosnia, which consists so far of 5 stone structures in the shape of the pyramid. This is the biggest one. It's called the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. As you can see, we have triangular sides. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. This is the northern side of the pyramid. It perfectly aligns with the North Star, like the Great Pyramid of Egypt. This is perfect east, perfect west, perfect south. Flat top. Completely flat from the bottom to the top. Let me show you a very short video clip of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. The town of Visoko, 20,000 people, is just 25 kilometers from Sarajevo. You can get there by the highway. And above the town rises the biggest stone structure ever built on the face of the planet. With its height of 220 meters, it is 1/3 taller than the Great Pyramid of Egypt. It's been covered by soil and vegetation for thousands of years. Most of our research was done in this area. I'm going to show you some photos. A similar pyramid is in the city of Teotihuacan in Mexico. That's the biggest pyramidal complex in Mexico. 150 years ago, the well-known Pyramid of the Sun in Teotihuacan looked exactly like this, covered by soil and vegetation. After decades of archaeological dig, this is what we got today, in the bottom right corner. One of the most magnificent structures ever built on the planet. There are 5 structures in the Bosnian Valley of the Pyramids. 3 of them on this illustration were shown as the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, Moon, and Dragon. Once we connect the tops of the Sun Pyramid with the Moon, go to the Dragon, and go back to Sun, we are getting a perfect triangle with the inner angles of 60 degrees. And the distance between the tops of 2.1 kilometers. Here we have the shadow of the Sun Pyramid. As you can see, it touches the Moon Pyramid, and the top of the shadow touches the top of the Moon Pyramid. It happens only once a year, on June 22nd, the first day of summer. And it shows the genius of the pyramid builders. Obviously, they first built the Pyramid of the Sun. They were checking the location of the shadow just before the sun goes down on June 22nd, and then that's how they chose the location of the Moon Pyramid, and the height of the Moon Pyramid was determined based on the top of the shadow of the Sun Pyramid. The Sun Pyramid, the shadow goes towards the Moon Pyramid, to your right. And here's the 5th structure, which I call the Pyramid of Love, the only pyramid in the world which is named like that. We don't have a scientific name for that. The reason is very simple. Bosnia has been known for the violence and the war and the negative news in the last 15 years. We want to change that. We want to color the whole Valley of the Pyramids positively with love. So we want messages of love to go to the world from Bosnia. This is another view of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. The northern side, this is the west. And from the right to the left, it's the causeway which leads to the top of the pyramid. Look at the play of the shadow and the light. The northern side, the northern triangle, is completely in dark. The same thing like the Egyptian pyramids on the Giza plateau. And the western side is completely sunny. Here's the shadow of the Sun Pyramid going towards the Moon Pyramid. The Moon Pyramid also covered by vegetation and the forests. Here's the Temple of Mother Earth. Dragon Pyramid is here, it can be seen. So this is the triangle I was talking about. 1, 2, 3, in the back. This is a nice 3-dimensional topographical map of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, which we got from the Geodetical Institute of Bosnia. It clearly shows the edges, the corners. This one is between the west and north. This one between north and east, east and south. The causeway the flat top, triangular sides, perfect alignment, north, east, west, south. You see the top is flat. In the case of Egyptian pyramids, what they would do, they would build a top, which they called pyramidion, from a different, long-lasting material, in their case, granite. In the case of the Central American pyramids, on the top, the builders would build the temple. That's the reason why they had it flat. Here also we see the flat surface. What did they have? We don't know. But obviously, they applied the same knowledge like the other pyramid builders. Probably there is no archaeological project in Europe ever that had applied more scientific disciplines than our research. We learned that the archaeology does not belong to the archaeologists only anymore. That's the reason why we applied a lot of high-tech knowledge. First, what we did, we have surveyed the whole area of Bosnia and Herzegovina, about 55,000 square feet. We used satellite images, and we wanted to find all the hills that looked like a pyramid. Because one of the objections from the archaeological world was that Bosnia is a hilly country, so probably there are thousands of the pyramids. So I said, okay, we're going to check the whole territory of Bosnia. We took the computer, we took the satellite, and what we did, we inserted a set of 3 criteria. We said, okay, let's find all the hills with 4 sides. Second, those 4 sides had to align with the cardinal points, east, west, north, and south. And number 3, let's find those hills who have, with 4 sides, at least 2 sides should be triangular in shape. And guess what? Instead of thousands of hills in the shape of the pyramids, we found only 9, 5 of them being located in Visoko Valley. And that's the reason why we call it the Bosnian Valley of the Pyramids. Pyramids of sun, moon, dragon. Can you hear me? Should I start from the beginning? So sun, moon, dragon, earth, and love. Then we did another analysis, the thermal analysis. We have checked the temperatures during the daytime and during the nighttime. We wanted to see the heat loss. If it is a natural hill, then the heat loss is very slow. If it is an artificial structure, the heat loss is much quicker due to existence of the passageways, of tunnels, chambers, galleries. And this survey also showed that the hills that have the shape of the pyramid lose the heat much, much quicker. Later on, we figure out this is due to existence of the tunnels and the galleries. Then we hired 2 teams of the georadar specialists. They are geophysicists, and their instruments can penetrate the surface. One team was from University of Belgrade, from Serbia, and the other one from Germany. Their leading georadar institution is from the company called LGA Bautechnik. These are the georadar instruments. They can penetrate the surface for 18 meters. What they reported in their written report was that they found 44 anomalies under the surface. For geophysicists, the anomalies mean it cannot be explained by the natural cause. What they found under the soil were paved terraces, shaped blocks, passageways, tunnels, and so on. This is an example of the one underground passageways. What they did, they put those wooden pieces and they marked which way the tunnel goes. A few words about our archaeological dig. So, in the center picture, we have the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. The yellow lines showed places where we actually removed the soil and the vegetation. The one on the top left corner, shows the place where 2 sides meet, north and east. What would you expect from that place is that they meet at 90 degrees, the corner. And that's exactly what we found. North, east, 90 degrees. Other places, once we removed about 70 centimeters of soil, we were finding the stone blocks, you can see them on the bottom, and actually the walls of the pyramid, from the bottom to the top. This is a huge, flat stone surface. Up close, the edge of the pyramid, this is the beginning of digging there. What we did, we uncovered about 25 meters, about 80 feet of this corner here. Now we are on the north side of the pyramid, Professor Pasic, University of Zenica, two professors from the Cairo University, Suleiman Hamid, Mona Fawad Ali, and Dr. Nabil Selim, 3 times PhD in archaeology and Egyptology, the man who found 4 pyramids in Egypt. They are working with us on the Sun Pyramid. Now, you saw the video clip, you saw the photos, you saw the topographical map. There is no question in anyone's mind that the shape of that hill is pyramid. In order to prove that this is a man-made structure, you need to remove the soil and find the proofs for your claim. So this is one of the typical sections. This one is on the north side. So we removed about 70 centimeters of soil. What we found was amazing. Rectangular stone blocks, one, another one next to this one, the third one. As you can see, they form the same slope. So we have a rectangular shape, flat top, breaks at 90 degrees, flat side, flat bottom, 6 times flat sides, 6 times 90 degrees. The Mother Nature does not make blocks like this. It is a man who does it. So this is the block on the top, 45 centimeters thick. This is the second one. So the first row is laying on the second row. This block is about 40 centimeters thick. This is the third one. The reason why it's moved a little bit is because of the structural stability. The third row is laying on the fourth row of the stone blocks. This guy here is 4.5 meters long, 1.5 wide. The weight is about 8 tons. 8 tons, 7 tons, 8 tons, and so on. So we have 4 rows, one on top each other. That's what man does, not nature. After 4 rows, we have 45 centimeters of clay. Clay being a connecting adhesive material. After clay, we have the 5th and then the 6th row of the stone blocks. So what we have here is actually we are looking at the outer casing of the Bosnian pyramid. Somebody mentioned the word controversy. When we studied this, some of the archaeologists in London, in Boston, in Sarajevo, were claiming this is all natural. Well, you make your own mind. Is it all natural or man-made? Or at least made by the intelligent hand? Another section on the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, nicely shaped and then layered stone blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4. The artifacts on the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, we found this rounded plate with a bunch of lines, rounded lines, something like a snake, something like letter E. Then we colored them, rounded lines, blue snake, letter E. And then we wanted to figure out what does it represent. So we rotated this stone for 90 degrees. So this big letter E came on this side. So from here it came there. Now what we got? This green rounded line is what we call the Temple of Earth. The blue snake is actually the river Fonica, which is in the valley. The brown line is the location and outline of the Pyramid of the Love. The pink, the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. The red line represents one of the underground tunnels that we discovered 2 years ago. The blue line represents also underground tunnel that we discovered last year. And as you can see, this blue line is taking us inside the pyramid. Right now, we cleaned about 250 meters from the entrance. and the entrance is 2.5 kilometers from the Sun Pyramid. So this was actually the map of the Bosnian Valley of the Pyramids. Now, another interesting hill in Bosnia, which 3 years ago I called the Bosnian Pyramid of the Moon. That's all I saw at that time. And then I wrote a book called The Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, Discovery of the First European Pyramids. And I claimed there that I discovered 5 pyramidal structures in central Bosnia, which will be followed by the network of underground tunnels. Of course, most people, call me different names. Well, guess what? 3 years later, it seems that I was right just about everything I wrote in that book. So, the Bosnian Pyramid of the Moon. One triangular side, and this is perfect west. The other one, perfect south, perfect north, flat top, and we have eastern causeway. The height, 190 meters. The Pyramid of the Sun in Teotihuacan is 74 meters high, 74. It looks huge. The Khufu's Pyramid, the Great Pyramid of Egypt, is 148. For the longest time, it was considered the tallest and the biggest structure ever built. This guy here is 190. The Sun, 220. Let's take a look at a similar hill 150 years ago in Teotihuacan, what is today known as the Pyramid of the Moon. The same look. And this is the Pyramid of the Moon in Mexico today. Magnificent structure. Before, now. Let's go back to the Bosnian Pyramid of the Moon. We have opened about 45 sections on the Pyramid of the Moon from the very bottom all the way to the top, on western side, south, and eastern. North we have not touched because during the last war in Bosnia 15 years ago, there was a line between two sides here. So there is a sense of adventure here also. So let's see what we discovered. Every place where we did some digging, we were finding the paved terraces, rectangular structures, vertical walls, more terraces on the bottom, shaped blocks, and plates. In other words, this is a huge stone structure in the shape of the pyramid with the perfect orientation. And that's exactly what I claim. I'm not saying we're going to find Egyptian pyramids in Bosnia, or Mexican, or Chinese, or Bolivian, but what we are finding are unique Bosnian stone structures in the shape of the pyramid with the perfect orientation. Now, this pyramid, actually all the pyramids in Bosnia are most probably the oldest pyramids known and surviving on the planet. So it's very hard to find anything similar. The Pyramid of the Moon is some type of the step pyramid. Actually, it consists of layers of terraces. We have sandstone terrace here, we have clay layers, sandstone, clay, sandstone, all the way to the top. Now with the Egyptians, I'm explaining them why this terrace is of artificial origin. It's rather obvious, but like last night somebody said, nothing is obvious, so we have to do some scientific homework first. This is a sandstone, which is very often found in Bosnia and is used as a construction material. But sandstone is usually, when it is found in nature, on the top it's rather soft and corrosive. As you go deeper, it's getting stronger and less corrosive. And here on the top, it is strong and it is not corrosive. Like somebody brought it here, turned it upside down in order to get this better quality on the top, and then lay them out. Another terrace, this time on the southern side of the pyramid, sandstone again, we have this very interesting texture, like a wave pattern, which we find on all sides of the pyramids. Here we have 8-degree slope. We have 8-degree slope on the western side, we have 8 degrees slope on south side. These are some of the places, different places on the Pyramid of the Moon that we found nicely shaped sandstone. All 6 sides are shaped. You see they meet at 90 degrees, vertical walls. And now again, when I started 3 years back, Anthony Harding, who was leading the European Archaeological Association, said it is all natural. Dr. Zahi Hawass, who's leading the Egyptian Supreme Council for Antiquities, said this is all natural. Now, should we believe to the people who have the positions and titles and who, for some reason, don't want this to happen? Or should we believe our own eyes? I understand very early that what we need to do is we need to open our excavation to everyone, because that way we're going to get friends. People come and they see what we do, and they get convinced, and then they talk to each other. They talk to media. First couple of years, 2006 and 2007, we've had over 400 visitors from about 80 countries in the world. When I started this lecture, I said that a new magic of archaeology is coming to the scientific world. And this time it's coming from the European soil. 200 years ago, Napoleon went to Egypt, and what he really brought back were the books and books about Egyptian pyramids. 100 years ago, the British finally discovered one pristine tomb in the Valley of the Kings. And now, 100 years later, we got these archaeological discoveries, but this time from the European soil, from little tiny Bosnia. Again, behind this handsome man, we have nicely shaped sandstone plates, and we can ask ourselves, natural or man-made? And some more. And some more. Nicely shaped, like a baklava in Bosnia. Again, we have the texture here, and texture there. This is the bottom of the western side. Look at the step. 5 meters away, another step. 5 meters away, another step. And the slope is about 8 degrees. So what they got with the slope and the steps, they have some type of the spiral, like a spiral ramp, which goes around the western side. And then it connects to the south side. We saw the terrace on the south side at the same angle. So we got like a spiral going around the pyramids. The first known structures to the mainstream science are the Babylonian ziggurats. And ziggurats had the same thing, the spiral ramps going all the way to the top. And it served to transport the material and the people. Now we are close to the top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Moon. We removed about 1 meter of soil, and what we found very nice paved terrace, sandstone plates. We opened the hole here to see how the profile looks like. What we found in the hole, beside myself, were the layers of sandstone plates and blocks. Or more closely, block, block, layer of clay. Clay again being used as the adhesive material. Block, block, clay, block, block, and so on and so forth. I've seen probably about 300 pyramids in the world, and this is maybe one of the biggest ones. 4 kilometers from the pyramid sites, we found an interesting rounded hill. Perfect geometry. Rounded hill with the body in the back. A mile from here, there is another very interesting hill, or the Tor, how they used to call it thousands of years back. I would say the Tor here and this hill here got the same shape. Rounded in the front with the body in the back. The Tor here is built from clay, limestone, and sandstone. This hill here is built from the clay and the sandstone. This is the area where we did the excavation. This is what we found. Left, bottom, huge block. The top of the block has the same texture like the moon pyramid, and we concluded that we are talking about the same builders and probably the same time of the building. So we have a terrace, sandstone, clay layers, terrace, sandstone, clay, terrace, and so on. This block here is 4 meters and 40 centimeters long, 170 wide, 63 centimeters thick. The weight is 23,600 kilo, about 24 tons. Now, in order to lift 24 tons, if a man can lift in average 50 kilos, we would need about 500 people to lift this piece here. Now, how can we put 500 people around this block? Hardly. But, I asked last year one of the tourists, okay, how would you put 500 people around this block? He said, well, I would put 200 on this side, 200 there, and 50 on the ends. Next to this guy, there is another block, about 20 tons, 15 tons, 8 tons, and so on and so forth. These are the biggest stone blocks in Southern Europe, that they are built into an ancient structure. We discovered this 2 years ago, the pyramids 3 years ago. Last year, I'm going to show you what we discovered last year. Bosnia is becoming a superpower, at least on the archaeological map. One of the interesting artifacts that we found on the top of one of the terraces here is this sandstone foot with the 5 toes. It matches a male shoes number of 36. Well, if this was rather short guy, probably 1.5 meters, and that might explain how you would put 500 people around that block. Under the Bosnian Valley of the Pyramids, there is a network of the underground tunnels. 3 years ago when I wrote my book, I said, well, we're going to find the network of the tunnels. And it was based on my experience with the, let's say, step pyramid in Saqqara. Maybe you know that there is the whole maze, a labyrinth of the tunnel, just under one pyramid in Egypt. And Teotihuacan, of course, has the network of the tunnels. The Giza pyramids has those tunnels. I said, we're going to find one in Visoko. That's the name of the town here. And people were saying, oh, it's impossible. Maybe you can find some natural caves or, some coal mining or something like that. But instead, we found one of the entrances a year and a half ago. We barely could make inside. In the meantime, for the last 12 months, we widened it, so now it's almost 2 meters high. And we put a wooden support, so it will be safe for the visitors and the researchers. This entrance is about 2.5 kilometers from the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. This is how they looked like at the beginning. So what we were doing, we cleaned a little bit to the left, to the right, and from the bottom. And then we put the wooden support. And that's exactly how it looks like today. Now, when we started cleaning the existing tunnel, we found out that with the main tunnel, there is a bunch of side tunnels, like this one here at 45 degrees, another one here to the left at 90 degrees, another one here. Now, this one here is for some reason sealed off, a fill-in material, and then stones that form the dry wall. Why would somebody seal off one of the side tunnels? Then another side tunnel was also blocked off. This is the profile of the tunnel, fill-in material. We have the blocks. We have mineral water. And another one, just this one is much longer than the others. This one is 3.5 meters long, the dry wall. And it sealed 3 side tunnels. One is here, the other one is there, the third one is here. Now, this tunnel network opens several questions, several mysteries. Who built the network underground, 20 meters underground? And that network goes for tens of kilometers in all directions. And the second question, why would somebody come during either the same civilization or later on and blocked 99% of the side tunnels? Right now we don't have the answer. What we are finding in those tunnels is pretty amazing. Under the conglomerate material, we are finding some stones that they are sticking out a little bit, 10, 15 centimeters. So what we started doing was, we started removing the conglomerate, like in this case. See, about 10, 15 centimeters. And then we started removing the conglomerate, which has been here for thousands and thousands of years. Obviously, at some point in time, the tunnel system was under the water. When? We are not quite sure when. But a long, long time ago. Because this conglomerate, it takes not only thousands, maybe tens of thousands of years to form, to be so compact. It's not millions of years, we know that, but tens of thousands of years, probably yes. So this is a process of uncovering one of the blocks. Is almost completely cleaned. But now what we found on the surface was rather amazing. We found carved symbols. This one is rather obvious. It's an arrow. It shows direction. This one, we don't know what it represents. Something like letter C with the bottom line. A few more lines here. On this particular block, we found about 50 symbols. It's 2.5 meters long, 140 wide, 40 centimeters thick. It weighs about 7 tons. Who brought that piece inside? And it is about 200 meters from the entrance. Okay, these are the symbols that we found here. This is an arrow which I was showing you, and something like letter C. But a lot others. What they represent? Pyramids, rivers, directions, letters, we don't know. But these are the signs of literacy. Obviously somebody was literate in Bosnia a long time ago. You too, I was sleepy yesterday also when I came. So, what do we have here? We have this stone block which has been covered for tens of thousands of years. As a matter of fact, we did a C14 analysis just recently. We sent 3 pieces of the wood that we found in the conglomerate material. One to the Polish lab, one to the Kiel, Germany, and we got results from both labs. And the third one we are expecting from Oxford. The first 2 labs, their result match. And it will be a sensational discovery when we announce that in August. But this will be the definite proof of the oldest traces of literacy in Europe. So European and the world history will have to be rewritten. As a matter of fact, on this project, what we are doing? First, we are proving that the first pyramids do exist in Europe, and of all countries in little tiny Bosnia. Secondly, these pyramids are the biggest, the largest on the planet. You don't build the largest structures in some remote area. You always build them for some reason. Bosnia will become very important, but this time not because of bad news, but the opposite. Number 3, we have the most extensive, the biggest network underground ever built on the planet. And number 4, we probably have the oldest literacy on the planet. Probably that's the reason why Philip called this one of the most controversial discoveries. Let me read that. I got this today for his conference in November. Sam Osmanagic, the man who discovered the Bosnian Valley of the Pyramids, Osmanagic has organized one of the largest and most controversial archaeological excavation on Earth. So maybe he was right. This is rather controversial. Another tunnel, 3.5 meters high. The whole valley is in the tunnels. More tunnels. The ceiling, beautiful plate, like it was either poured there or they found the sandstone. Artifacts, we found a stone, maybe wheel. The second thing, Bosnia, stone spheres. Stone spheres, we know about them in Costa Rica. Somebody mentioned that yesterday. They said that nobody knows what they search for. Well, I kindly disagree. Some of them, like this one here, on the surface, what it has is something like a picture. But actually, 28 star systems, when you connect them, you get these carvings here. So obviously, some of the stone spheres in Costa Rica were used as the calendars, astronomical calendars. Some more. In most cases, out of 400 stone spheres found in Costa Rica, in delta of the river Diques, they are built from granite, granodiorite. And just one from Coquina, that's on the island about 25 kilometers from Costa Rica, Coquina, it's some type of sandstone. The stone spheres in western Mexico, 250 of them, they are of volcanic material. The stone spheres are, of course, on Easter Island, and they are found in New Zealand and the western US. And in Bosnia. Of all European countries, only in Bosnia. This is one of the biggest. Egyptian geologist, Dr. Ali Barakat, who is a member of our team. This stone sphere is perfectly spherical. There is no error, there is no tolerance. The tolerance is less than 2 centimeters. Perfectly shaped and perfectly finished. More places. Our foundation have located 20 different locations where we found the Bosnian stone spheres. That was totally unknown to the archaeologists and geologists in Bosnia until we founded our foundation. And more of them. The stone spheres in Bosnia were built from volcanic material, from granite and sandstone. The same thing like in Costa Rica, Mexico, and Easter Island. This one is obviously from granite. We found 8 like this in northeastern Bosnia. Granite never come free in a shape of the sphere, meaning that they are man-made. Somebody shaped them. On the scale from 1 to 6 of the hardness, granite is number 6. In order to shape such a hard material, you have to have very advanced tools. Just until 3,000-4,000 years ago, the only metals that were known to the people was copper. On the same scale, from 1 to 6, copper is number 3. You cannot shape such hard material with inferior tools. So even though these stone balls are dead now, we don't know their builders. What we know about them is that they did have advanced tooling. If we are to shape this today, we would need diamond tools. If we are to shape 8 tons or 15 tons stone spheres, or 40 tons, like in Costa Rica, or 50 tons, like in Mexico, the biggest ones, we would need at least 2 cranes to maneuver them. So obviously these are the traces of very advanced prehistoric civilization. Volcanic. Okay, this one, during the last war, obviously the military was here. This is 101st Brigade Logistics. Very interesting thing, after they painted this, after the war, they tried to remove the paint. They could not do it. And now they're saying it's because of some energy which, protects the paint. Okay, so we had the stone pyramids, we have the stone spheres, now we have the stone megalithic prehistoric towns in Bosnia. This one is in southern Bosnia and Herzegovina. It's called Daur Son. According to the mainstream science, Daur Son was built by the Illyrian tribes. They were there like 2,600 years ago, before the ancient Greece. Illyrian tribes. Now, let's take a look at this stone block. Usually they are about 1 meter to 1.5 meters thick. The weight 3, 5, 8, 12 tons. Perfectly cut. They fit perfectly. You put the credit card, you cannot go through. Now, does the tribe have the social organization to cut such pieces, to transport them for a couple of 3 kilometers on the top of the hill and then feed them so perfectly? We're not talking tribes here, we're talking advanced civilization. A few more photos. The walls. Peru, Mexico, Egypt, Easter Island, Bosnia. More angles. Number 4, that was rather quick. What our mainstream science in Bosnia called medieval tombstones. 66,000 pieces like this are registered in Bosnia, Herzegovina. 66,000. The mainstream science is saying that during the medieval times, the Bosnians who lived then, left their, symbols, signs, pictures, and they are saying they originated from that time. But actually they are wrong. Less than 1% of these stone monuments have any of the markings, any carvings. Less than 1%. It looks to me that they were built long time ago, and then when the new people, new culture came, they left their markings, like this one here. And the markings are always on the surface. So the way they carved it was on the surface, so they already found those pieces. Some of them are real nice. Medieval, most probably. But perfectly carved, made in one piece. More than 3 kilometers from this side. 5 tons, 10 tons. Bosnia is the land of wonders. The last week of August, our foundation is going to organize the first international scientific conference about the Bosnian Valley of the Pyramids. The chairman of the conference will be one mainstream scientist. His name is Dr. Nabil Svelim. He has 3 PhDs and he has written a number of books about the Egyptian pyramids. And he's probably the most respected expert on pyramids in Egypt. And the chairman of the scientific conference will be a member of Russian Academy of Sciences, Professor Kavroshkin. He is a geophysicist. He has done some research in our Valley of the Pyramids as well. And what he does, he's measuring the seismics of the archaeological structures in Siberia, in Egypt, in Bosnia. When comparing Egyptians and Bosnian pyramids, he concluded that both archaeological sites, the structures in both cases, behave the same. They behave like the artificial stone structures, not the natural hills. And of course, I'd like to thank you for your attention.